What's up, guys? How we doing? A little Tuesday night hangout. Just a tiny bit late. It's me. Most of the time, it's me. There's been a couple times that it's not. But how we doing? The NFL Combine in full swing. Getting to hear from Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni. Curious to hear everybody's takeaways, thoughts on that. Opportunity, potential for Myles Garrett. Been the constant theme, of course, but you know, there is official news-ish, I guess, that we can call it. I'm sure that most people have seen it, but if you haven't, the report from multiple different outlets, but here's the easiest one to just grab for this, is some teams believe the Eagles could be aggressive in pursuing Myles Garrett. Now, that's obviously Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, saying that Howie Roseman potentially would block a trade or move or something like that if the Commanders were actually going in on that. So we'll see. But we're going to get into that. Before we do, shout out to you guys. Couldn't do this without you, of course. Congrats to Randy, I believe, and Tony shipped out the giveaways for the towels. I never heard back from 215 Bird Gang, I believe. So 215 Bird Gang, if you're here, let me know. I didn't get an email from you, but you won it last week. If you're not, if I don't hear back from you in the chat by the end of the stream, I'll give it away to somebody else, but here it is. There is also, shout out to Jackson Phillips, but this is a size 4. So, you know, if you got a young kid, child, you're trying to get a Jalen jersey, pretty dope, actually. So shout out to Jackson for sending this. Showed up today. Going to give it away in just a little bit. But to anybody who's, you know, got a young one, trying to indoctrinate them, or they're already a part of, you know, the Eagles fandom. But can't go wrong with a Jalen Hurts jersey. We'll say that. So shout out to Jackson. Appreciate you guys for that. And then also later, yes, we'll be doing the A.J. Brown giveaway for the signed helmet on that side. Of course, shout out to the official sponsor of the channel, Underdog, for that one. If you've not already, get signed up with Underdog. Use code PhillySpecial. Get $1,000 in bonus cash, a special pick. Got a lot of NBA action there, but there you go. Clayton. Yo, jersey sick. Kiddo's got a midnight green one. Let's go. Okay, I'll just do this, actually, because, you know, the OGs are on early. If you got a kid, it's a size 4, I think. Let me double check. Yes, it's size 4. So Jalen Hurts, Kelly Green, size 4, legit quality. Just comment. Trying to think what I should. Just comment Hurts. If you comment Hurts right now in the live stream, I'm just gonna spin for it. That's what we'll go for. Just go ahead and give that one at that point. Oh, John, yeah, you need that towel. There you go. Where was the other one? Let me see. 1 second. Getting back to the comments. See all you guys. Appreciate that, by the way. Ben. Oh, Ben, do you think this channel will always be a 95% Eagles channel? Any chance of expanding to broader NFL coverage? That is a good question, Ben. Probably. Yeah. I've thought about going with it'd be a lot. I've thought about going with a second channel. But yeah, I mean, you know, this is, it's the Philly special. I could talk about, there's occasional, right? Like other NFL news and other stuff, but that's why you say 95%. So yeah, 5%-ish going other NFL news. Probably going to be, yes, the Eagles channel as it started. I don't know. Just the Eagles fan of the natural part of it. Also, by the way, shout out here for this one. I got this mailed to me from, why am I drawing a blank? Apologies. Who was this? Rob. There we go. I couldn't remember the name. I'm sorry about that, Rob. This was a mail to me from Rob. Shout out. Legit. Custom, I don't think you get these anywhere, but just had it mailed to me. And then I had to mix up with UPS, of course. So it's after. It was going to be before the Super Bowl. Could have worn this, but go Birds. I mean, it's pretty legit. You got the Super Bowl Licks logo built in. Not too bad for a custom shirt. Okay. I'm about to do this giveaway for the size 4. Children's size 4. Hurts jersey. Let me filter it real quick. All right, 1 second. Making sure it's working properly. Stand by. Okay. If you have not already typed in Hurts, actually, I take that back. If you've already done it, type in Hurts one more time. You won't get kicked, but don't do it multiple times. AJ Brown, appreciate you coming on the stream, man. You're spamming it. Quit. One time. Bro, I'll put you in timeout and you can't win it. Stop. If you had already, though, just one more time. One comment, Hurts, it'll get you entered. I'm going to take one more minute. I had to refresh it. For some reason, it was not capturing the messages. It is now, though. We're good. So just enter it one more time. Should be good. We'll get back to the comments here in a second for people that are unable to say anything. We will get there. By the way, shout out to Justin Ziegler. Let's go. Welcome to the Hungry Dogs tier. Access to the Zoom calls, the Zoom meetings, which, by the way, reminder while we're waiting on this to give away for the jersey, the Zoom call is not going to be able, I'm not going to be able to do the Zoom call this week. I apologize to those members. We will do it. I will make it up. We're not going to, miss out on it. I've got family stuff planned for this week is crazy. So it's not even just Friday, but it's Thursday and several other days. But Friday for the next 3 Fridays is going to be super difficult. So I may try to move it to a different day. I'll post a message out on the community page. So Hungry Dogs tier and higher, figure out a day that works. But there's plenty coming for that. Just wanted to give a heads up. So changes on the schedule. I will make it up. Okay. Looks like we're about there. Got a lot of comments. That's good, though. I mean, hopefully everybody can actually use these. So, okay. I'm going to spin, and then we're going to get into all the rest of the news. So let me screen share here. Here we go. And it will be, you have to be here present to win, obviously. Osvaldo Diaz. Hopefully you're here. Dixon was saying what is it in Spanish. There you go. Well, Osvaldo won by saying it hurts. Just comment back. Make sure you're still here, obviously. Got to confirm that. But let me know. Say something here in the chat. Say I'm here. What's up? QB1. Anything. Eagles fan 2. My dog needs it. That's actually, I didn't think about that, but I guess so. There you go. Sweet. Okay, I see you. I see you in the chat. You got it. Congrats. Qualified says he left. Man, how quickly people are sure that they leave. You were here. So, okay, email me as usual for these giveaways, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com. Email me there. I know it's a delay. See, some people are saying he's here. Yes, he is here. Osvaldo, just email me. Like I said, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com. I'll get your info, double check. I will ship it out to you, as always, for all those. You don't pay for anything. You're not paying for shipping. Beware. Stay out for that. But yes, you got it. Congratulations. And then the AJ one will be later. So for people that are still here, we're going to do that later. Anthony, you did not win. I saw a comment there for a second. Did you win? You did not. Eagle One, you like the shirt? Okay. I do too. Like I said, Rob sent it over. Pretty legit. Every once in a while, I get some legit merch and gear and everything else that gets shipped. So, all right, where should we start? Because there's so many different topics and questions, and I know I opened with Myles Garrett. We will get there, I know. Sirius Blade or Sirius Sunblade, thank you for that. Appreciate it. We will get into Myles Garrett. Let's start with I'll start with the brotherly shove, but hee hee ha ha, don't quit spamming. Don't comment multiple times, please. Something we're gonna. Okay, we'll do the brotherly shove quickly, and then we'll get into Myles Garrett. How about that? So for the brotherly shove, people are, going crazy naturally. It's like Groundhog Day in a sense, because it feels like every time this time of year, the league reviews the rule changes, potential changes, things that they might want to ban, and there's 1, 2, 3 teams, whatever, that get upset. Only one that was reported, which was the Packers, and basically it was to the extent of Green Bay can't do it well enough, so they want to ban it. They don't like it. Doesn't feel like a great play, but it's the fact, and like Sirianni said, the Eagles are so good at it that if every single team could do it that well, then you might have a case to go, well, this is probably need to be looked at, but it's only Philly that can run it like they do. That's why, obviously, the viral clip, I'm sure everybody's seen, but, it's from Sirianni back whenever, I think, the Dolphins game 2 years ago. It was like, if everybody could do it, everybody would do it. But they can't. Transit Dude, appreciate that. Thank you. Just subscribed. Been watching you for a while now. Really enjoyed the updates, insights, provide for the Eagles, franchise, etc. Keep it up. Go Birds. Go Birds. Appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are insane. We just crossed over, I think, 118,000 subs, which is just ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. I need to get the plaque up, by the way. Some people have been asking me about that, and I am just taking forever because that's how I do. You guys know. It takes me a while to get something done. I've actually got the stuff to be able to do it, and I haven't yet, so it will happen very soon. I'm thinking like right in that general area. It's hard to point and look at that, but yeah, probably right about there maybe for the plaque. Right now it's just sitting back there on the table, so it will happen. Joseph, appreciate that too. Thank you. Christine, keeping on the topic for Justin, I'm going to get to your super chat too, by the way. Thank you for that. But sticking with the topic really quickly, the rule change for kickoffs, because it doesn't seem like, for those wondering, if you haven't seen, I know a lot of you have, so if we're rerunning it, but it does not seem like they're going to change the tush push, the brotherly shove, whatever we want to call the play. They're not going to. It's just a continual thought of, everybody bringing it up because the Eagles, like I said, but even Roger Goodell, Troy Vincent was talking about this and saying, like, there's not really the appetite for the league to do anything. There's not really any changes going. So that won't be, they can keep complaining all they want to. I appreciated Andy Reid's take. If you didn't hear his, he was kind of saying, you could hear both ways, right? Like, understand the argument for teams that don't like it, understand teams that are fine, whatever. But he was like, they run it really well and they practice it a lot. The same thing for Todd Bowles, who's, he's had a little bit more success with stopping the play. Granted, it's rip Jalen Hurts' face mask off, which we saw in the, wild card round 2 years ago. But he's on the competition committee. So he didn't have a problem with it, which is good news. But yeah, that one won't be going anywhere. The kickoff will probably change. I don't know. I shouldn't say probably. It might change. There's a chance. Right now, they're looking into the possibility of you kick it out of the end zone. It is currently the ball goes to the 30-yard line for a touchback. Now, if you were to kick it off, if they implemented a new change, which they're reviewing, it would be kick it out of the back of the end zone. Ball goes to the 35-yard line. So the reason for that is they're tired, I guess, of teams that, boot it out of the end zone. They want more returns. Yet the ridiculous thing is, that they had an increase 57% of kick returns this past season and fewer injuries. It did both things that they said that they wanted to do. Yet the NFL, they got to keep tinkering with it because they're not satisfied. There's more money to be made. Josh B., you're 1,000% right. Need something for onside kicks. See, I don't care at all about like the landing zone, go to the 30-yard line. Like if they want to do the 30-yard line, if they want to do the 35, if they want to do the 25, like I don't care. To me, I'm like, look, just leave it. I would say leave it at the 30. It's only been one season, and it did supposedly what you were wanting it to do. But yes, the onside kick is exactly where you need to implement something because, I mean, where on earth? Like, watching a football game and saying the whole element of an onside kick, unless at the very end of the game, which everybody knows at that point, yes, okay, they're down by two, you're down by 2 scores, less than 2 minutes or 2 minutes left, you got to take an onside kick. Sure, that is a given. You don't even have to announce it. Teams know you're going to do it. But how many times have you seen games or teams start a game off or a second half off and an element of surprise to do an onside kick? It's impossible because, now you have to alert and say, hey, we're trying an onside kick. It's idiotic. So yes, they do need to change something there, but the difficulty is it's like, okay, there's this supposed landing zone, and if you don't announce it, can you kind of get away with it of kicking it and, it wasn't a full-blown onside kick, but it wasn't a kick that landed into the landing zone. There's just so many things wrong with that. So, I don't know. Justin, yes, if you change the touchback from the 30 to 35, then the kickers... then have the kickers kick from further away at least. That's true. You could look at that. Yeah, Jorge, lots of people in the same boat that you have to announce it. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Justin, getting to your super chat, though, finally. Appreciate that. The 5 bomb. Let's go. Player you want in the draft? Myself, I want Campbell, linebacker from Bama, or Walter Nolan. Yes, absolutely. Walter Nolan. Defensive tackle from Ole Miss, first round, and Mason Taylor to learn under, I'm sure that's Goddard, second. I don't mind that. I would say Walter Nolan, but, that's probably a lot of people, and I don't know that he's going to be available at 32. Not that you couldn't trade up, but, yeah, Walter Nolan would be my pick. Defensive line, and we can get into this as well, but it just doesn't feel like Milton Williams and or Josh Sweat is going to return. The market for them is going to be high. I'm not sure that Howie's going to pay what they're going to be able to get, and that's totally fine. They deserve it. Go get your bag. Got a Super Bowl. But yeah, for me, the idea of Walter Nolan and Jalen Carter playing next, it would just be unfair. But Anthony and I talked about this, I think the past weekend when we were looking into guys to watch in the combine, players to potentially impress, who would be good fits for Philly, things like that. But even offline, text you about it. But that's one of those players that you go, a similar feel. It's not impossible, though, because people thought the same thing for Nolan Smith. There was no way that Nolan Smith can fall to the Eagles late in a first round. You're going to have to take him early if you want him. Same thing for Quinyon Mitchell. You got to trade up. He just falls into Philly's lap. Cooper DeJean in the second round. Nobody saw that coming. So, yeah. Let's see. Where's the other super chat? Oh, here we go. Carol Green with a 5, appreciate that also, says they didn't bring up the tush push in 21 or 23 because we didn't make it far. They only care when we are a good team. That's not entirely... I don't know if it was as big of a deal, but in 23, it still was brought up. I think it was still brought up. Because I remember making at least either one video or one minor topic of discussion. It might not have been to the level of like, hey, let's completely ban it, but there were rumors. So that's fair. Maybe not to the extent like you're saying, but there was still just the scutterbutt of like, what is this? Is it good for the game? And I think it's going to just stick regardless. But yeah, like the more relevant the Eagles are, the more of a, like if the Eagles, were to repeat and go back to back, yeah, then it's going to be even more so. Oh, just ban the play. It's unfair. Philly has this ridiculous advantage. It's not football. It's a rugby play. You get all sorts of people worked up. But yeah, it's going to be the continual. Jimmy, making sure I'm good. You probably can hear the Charlotte in the background. Osvaldo, by the way, I've got your email, so I will email you later for the giveaway. Again, congratulations. Got the jersey. We're good to go, though. Jimmy was asking what the new signing. Are we talking about Lou Nichols, the running back? I'll briefly touch on it, I guess, in the video tomorrow, most likely. But, the dude's been on practice squad. He's gone off and on with the team. Maybe it's a better sign, but I think we kind of already felt this way. Signed to the active roster, probably Kenny Gainwell not returning, but I don't think that that's a surprise anyway. So, it's a move now. I don't think it's a major move. I assume that's what you're talking about. Let's see. We've got, again, we can take this wherever people want to, but qualified. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. She's okay. I think it's either she's wrapping up dinner time or we're getting close. I'm awake. Lou is my guy. He did some stuff in the preseason. I'm not saying that, hey, it's good. He got signed to the active roster. He very well could be the third RB, right? Like Will Shipley's 2, he's 3rd. Saquon's obviously 1. But you never know. Jeremiah, Kenny is not going anywhere. Really? You think Kenny Gainwell is going to stick? I'm curious for how much. How is... I mean, nothing's impossible. But how is Kenny Gainwell going to stick and how much? Be curious to get the thoughts on that. Agree with most people, by the way, yes. The tush push is not going anywhere. Ray, battling for a physics test tomorrow. Need this as a distraction. Well, Ray, hopefully this does not hurt you on it. Good luck on the physics test, but hanging out there. Finesse, Kenny is the best pass blocker we have. I mean, outside of Saquon. He's not better than Saquon. Wispy, what's your take on Sidney Brown's value? Is he starting? No, he's not starting, but I think he's got good value. He's great for special teams. You saw the physicality he plays with, the speed, athleticism there. If you were to suffer injuries, as we have in, many seasons, I'd be curious if he takes that next step for either Reid Blankenship, if there's an injury, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He kind of got scored on it. I couldn't tell if it was him or Tristan McCollum on the Super Bowl. It was, garbage time, whatever. He still got scored on a little bit. But no, I'm still very high on Sidney Brown. I think there's a lot to like. Talked about it whenever he first came out of the draft. Began to play well. Naturally, he tore his ACL and recovering, trying to get ready for this season. So I think next year, absolutely. I don't think that he's starting, but again, I do think that there's lots of value there, and they see that. So I'd be curious of, how much, again, and where does he factor into the long-term plans? Do they try to extend somebody, or is he the next guy? Yeah, John, great at getting physical. And you need that. Somebody says, you don't need physics. Yes, Christine. Gainwell's going to get a decent bag. There's no way that he's coming back. We're just saying that. Let's see. Where is the... Oh, okay, now we got to... Again, all over the place, but... There's a Myles Garrett, listen to Eagles Nest, listen to his interview at the Combine. Buddy ain't trading Garrett. They actually trying to win now. It was Andrew Berry for the thoughts on... Myles Garrett wants to go to a contender, and anyone who's anybody who knows anything about anything knows that Cleveland is not going to be a contender. I mean, I would laugh if they prove me wrong. I guess they could. But they're not going to be a contender this next season. So if Myles Garrett is saying that... But then you got the juxtaposition of Andrew Berry and go I hear the frustration, blah, blah, but we're going to do what's best for Cleveland. We're just going to keep him. Right? What was, I'm sure people saw this, but Brandon Perna's tweet earlier today was something to the effect of they have the person, they're holding a person hostage or keeping Myles Garrett in prison when he wants to go and be released, yet they have a quarterback that they're paying an obscene amount of money who should be in prison. I'm not going to take that any further than that is, but it was kind of humorous. But it was almost like, you're going to get asked these questions. And for those that didn't see it, Andrew Berry, GM of the Browns, gets up in front of the media. Before he is asked any questions, you get briefed, by your media guys, your PR guy. You're like, what the conversation is going to be. Here's some potential questions. He knew Myles Garrett was going to come up, so just go ahead and beat him to the punch. Like, immediately he goes, hey, before I answer any questions, here's what I'll say about Myles. He said what he wanted to, and then he kept getting asked questions naturally because there are going to be follow-ups and, hey, what about this? What about that? It seemed like he basically was a broken record after that point when they went to questions, because he just kind of kept reiterating the same thing over and over. And I get you don't want to give away too much, but basically it's like, we understand he's frustrated. We also want to perform better than we did last year, but we want to do what's best for the Cleveland Browns, and what is best for us is to have Myles Garrett, we believe, on this roster. I don't know. There's an element, sure, he's an all-world player, but at some point in time, you look at the salary cap and where Cleveland's at, and knowing that you're not going to be a contender this season, that you could possibly cash in on a team that is looking to either vastly improve their team or go all in right now. I have to believe, even though he's saying that they are not going to trade, they have no plans to trade, that is only to continue to drive up the price, because he's clearly getting lots of calls. There's reports from Jeremy Fowler. I think, was it Ian Rappaport or Mike Garafolo? One of them were saying the same thing. Like, there are calls. It is happening. They're just remaining right now that they're not going to trade him for now. But, I mean, come on. There's many options. And I'd be curious to see, because the Commanders have a lot of potential resources. They're open to trading Jonathan Allen. They are allowing him to seek a trade. Do they move on from him? Try to offer quite a bit, go for Myles Garrett? They're going to try to, regardless, bump up their defense. But if that happens, again, going back to what we were talking about at the open, then the report from Jeremy Fowler, who's been spot on several others, especially for the Eagles, is that Howie Roseman and Philly would be very aggressive to kind of block that trade, so to speak. It's like, oh, hey, wait, hang on. Washington's trying to get Myles Garrett. Well, maybe we are interested after all. Maybe we'll go in here and try to trade something away, or I don't know if it's draft picks necessarily and or a player. But yeah. The Eagles ask Garrett's no trade clause takes away Cleveland's leverage to get the best deal. Yeah, but I think that's a little bit overplayed, overvalued. I don't know, because there's still a lot of teams that you could go. For example, he's going to say yes to Philly. Like, you're not going to block. He's going to go to Philly. If the Commanders were to try to trade for him, they offered a good package, he would go to the Commanders, right? You're not. The world is like the grass. I know that you could make the argument like, hey, the grass is always greener on the other side. But in the case of being in Cleveland, the grass is greener on what, every team? Like, tell me what team the grass is not greener on. I know, yes, he wants to go a contender, so sure, that you could like eliminate 5-10 other teams. That's fine. But let's be honest here. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of teams. It's not like you got a guy who's on a contender or a borderline contender team that's like, I'm going to be really picky. I'm going to go like 3 teams and that's it. I really think that there's potentially like 8 to 10 teams at least that Myles Garrett go, okay, yeah, that one works. I mean, are you kidding me? You get out of a situation like Cleveland? I mean, come on. Benji, what's up? How you guys, how we doing? To drive back into work? Oh, just wanted to stop in and say F Dallas, go Birds. Well, hopefully Ben work is not too bad, but we appreciate that. Go Birds. Go Birds, baby. Dewad's saying, I'm hearing if we do get Garrett, it'll just be first round, JD, a future second, and Howie, not the 49ers. What is that? Not the 49ers, and give 3 first-round picks. People, not the... Sorry, I'm not following this. And not Howie, Howie, not the 49ers, and give 3 first-round picks. Some people just talk dumb. Yeah. If they do it, they're not going to give away just the whole, like, selling everything. We know that. That's a given for Howie and the way his trades are and everything else, he's not going to give up too much. But Tyler, the 20 bomb. Bro, appreciate that. A Warriors Rage. I also see yours too. It's weird. On the chat, his came up first for my screen to grab, but on the other one, yours came up first. I will get yours. I'm not missing it. So sit tight. Tyler, let's see. Super chat for your thoughts. Firstly, re-sign Baun and Becton. Second, find a way to get Garrett without giving up Huff. Interesting. Without giving up Huff. A few picks and acquire Garrett that way. Trade Huff. Some later picks for Pitts. Okay, so we're using Huff for that. Okay, think how he could get it done. Yes, I do. But I don't. Okay, maybe I should clarify. I think everybody would say, could Howie do this? And it's like, yes, because it's Howie Roseman. So in that sense, could he get it done? Yes. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Like, I don't feel like it's going to be. I know that Bryce Huff severely underperformed, but Bryce Huff is not. If Howie Roseman moved off from Bryce Huff, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. I personally feel like if Howie Roseman were to figure out a way to trade Bryce Huff, and let's say in this scenario, as Tyler's playing out, that it's a Bryce Huff or Kyle Pitts and one pick or whatever, like some sort of draft capital. If Howie Roseman did that, that to me is a blockbuster of sorts because of the ramifications and what we know about Bryce Huff and the contract and trying to get out of that. Like, the contract is not set up very well for the Eagles to try to get buyers or to get a team willing to do that. So for me, I'd be like, yeah, that's an absolute win. That is a blockbuster of sorts. We're not talking blockbuster Myles Garrett, but it's a blockbuster of sorts. It would definitely grab headlines. You say, hey, wow, okay, you know what? For a player that wasn't really the best fit, move on. Good luck to you. And we will still say, like, I would absolutely love it. If Bryce Huff has a fantastic second year, if healthy, able to learn Vic Fangio's system, contributing, back 6 or 7 sacks, who knows? But yes, if you were able to trade away, I don't think it's impossible, but I just don't think you're going to get both. I think you either maybe, perhaps, get a Myles Garrett trade, or you get the trade where it's Bryce Huff, and they'll figure out a way to get out of that. Maybe get a Kyle Pitts, move on that way, because it just seems like you're going to get. Obviously, you have to give like draft compensation. I don't know how much necessarily, but youth. I mean, that's the only thing that Cleveland's going to be interested in is either picks and or a younger player that they have some potential control over. So if you do that and you've got to potentially get rid of Bryce Huff and even more draft capital, I just can't see both worlds happening. But it is Howie Roseman, so we never say never. I agree with the first thought, though, Tyler. Yes, firstly, re-sign Zack Baun, Mekhi Becton. It definitely seems like multiple rumors, speculation. Shout out to John McMullen, who was kind of writing the article that based on what he's hearing, feeling, the sense that he got from Mekhi Becton, and continues to get, he seems like the most likely for sure that would return to Philly and potentially give you a team-friendly discount. So for all those reasons, I think to me, Mekhi Becton, yes. That one I think will get done because it's like twofold. It's one, the reasons that I listed out there and the way the run game is with Mekhi Becton in it especially, and the fact that you can probably get a little bit of a discount. So you say, if we get a discount on a player like that, what Stoutland sure made him and helped him to become and realize the full potential, but that one gets done. And then Zack Baun, to me, you just don't let an all-pro walk. Like, Vic Fangio is not going to allow it. Let's be honest. Vic Fangio came in, turned the defense around. He's got an all-pro linebacker. There is not a world. I shouldn't say that, but you know, there's not a realistic world in my mind that Zack Baun is not a Philadelphia Eagle. Even if it's a 15 a year, 16 a year. I know that's crazy high. He's not going to get like the 18, 19 range, but even if it's 15, 16 a year, I really think that is still going to happen. We've heard, Thomas and I have said it multiple times. We've gotten one source, so we're not confirming officially the report, but one source of saying that Zack Baun will eventually get done. It's going to happen, just working out numbers. So we'll see. Obviously go live officially whenever that does happen. But that's why I would say those two feel like very good locks. And then Jeremy Fowler also reported earlier this morning, for people that are not aware, that Josh Sweat is very likely to move on. He's got a big contract potential. And then there's Milton Williams. But again, you just look at the contracts, the cap, where that's at, other potential moves. You just find it very unlikely that Milton Williams is able to return. Howie can figure out a way to make things work. It's not impossible it doesn't happen, but I would just say yes. I agree with you there. Baun and Becton, B&B, and then maybe one of those trades. I still think it's extremely unlikely. And let me also just say, too, because I saw some people that were throwing out the idea of Nolan Smith and a first-round draft pick for Myles Garrett. No. Get out of here with that. We do not need that. We do not want that. I understand he's Myles Garrett, but no. That's maybe a little bit of extra fandom there, but I'll just say I don't like it. I'm Awake says I like Steen also. Absolutely. I totally get it. See, that's the thing. If in my mind, I think if Mekhi Becton was trying to maximize, and he could still get really good money, but I think if he was trying to maximize what he's going to get, then there's probably that borderline and saying like, yeah, we might be willing to let him walk, but I think you're going to get such a good potential discount deal because he wants to be in Philly that he's going to stick around. Frankie Ray, that's an interesting point. I mean, you're not necessarily wrong, but Gainwell's Sirianni's favorite player, so he'll most likely make it back. Yeah, he is one of his favorite players, but I don't think just because Sirianni has a favorite player there that he's going to stick. I mean, because if we just go based off of what Sirianni has said about other players, he was a huge fan of Quez Watkins, and that didn't last. So I hear you. I don't know if that's necessarily the truth, or at least what will happen. Josh B., I wonder if Baun leaves, if he'll be as good. Having Jalen Carter in front of you makes you a better linebacker. It's all tied in together. You're right. Kayla, thank you. Okay. No Nolan, thank you. Yes. Jorge says you might get banned from the channel if you suggest a Nolan trade. That's actually an interesting point. I might should bring that up and see how many people are in agreement with that. And then we can just go back and be like, banned. Just go down the comments. Say, who is that? Who is willing to do this? Christine, that's actually a pretty good one, too, for the Visa commercial. Okay, Warriors Rage. I'm getting to yours. I did see it earlier. Appreciate the 5. Says, hot take, Washington is a rumor to drive up the price for the Eagles. Washington has too many old players, and it's not the cap, it's the picks. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that necessarily. I felt like it might be the other way around, like Eagles, interjecting to kind of drive up the price if they know the commies are in for it, but that's fair. I mean, how many times do we get all these reports of saying like, hey, here's this player, and it's great dealing by the agent to say, hey, we've got this team and this team. You leak them naturally to Schefter and to Rappaport, to Garofalo, to all the others. Like, let him know. Right? Like, there's these 3 teams. There's these 4 teams that are interested. Even if legitimately it's only like 1 or 2 teams that are fighting for it, you leak the 4 teams. Even if Howie Roseman just calls to say, hey, what's going on here? Because he said in the press conference, as we understand and we've seen for many years, like he's going to make calls about everyone. It's market intel. It's saying, hey, maybe there's a legit way to make this thing happen. You're playing chess. You're trying to look at all the potential moves. So even if he's not going to get Myles Garrett, he's going to make the call. But then immediately that becomes like, well, Howie Roseman called. So the agent, absolutely you leak that. Of any team, even if there's no interest at all, you say the Eagles have called about Myles Garrett. That could mean nothing. But it's just the fact that you got a call. Then if you're another agent, you're going, oh my gosh. Like they did Saquon Barkley. No one thought that Saquon Barkley, or very few. I shouldn't say that. There were some of you. I know. I was not one of them. Neither was Anthony DeBona. Shout out to the 0.0%. But it's not impossible. But yeah, it's fair. That's the part that we never know for sure because it's maybe it is the Eagles sometimes. Maybe it's a different team. Drive up the price. Some good old negotiating. And teams are going to certainly utilize sources that way. Let's see. Andrew with a 2. Would you still trade for Garrett if Pierce falls? I mean, I'm already kind of on the fence. It just depends on what you could get for him. But yes, if he's still on Cleveland and we're at the draft and you like the way the draft fell to you and you're able to get some defensive line help that with youth and guys who you think that can make an impact, like Pierce or Walter Nolan or insert, whoever else you want there, then probably not. Like I'm definitely more deterred, I suppose. Like I there's not as much of the need. That's the part that's really interesting to me because, of course we have free agency that takes place first and then the draft. Is if something happens with Myles Garrett, is it going to be before the draft? Surely, because Cleveland, yes, I know they keep saying like, no, we have no intention of trading Myles Garrett, blah, blah, blah. If they are going to do it, they absolutely should be doing it before the draft. So, I mean, if we're into the draft at that point and they haven't traded, I don't even think that you're going to be able to get a reasonable value because they're going to have missed the boat, so to speak, for draft picks this year. Now, sure, they could do it for the following season, but I think they're legitimate looking at it like we have the most value now. Let's just go ahead and move forward with it, get it done. So I would say no. In that hypothetical, I would say no. But I think if we get to draft, it could happen on draft night. And with A.J. Brown, we've had instances on draft night of getting it done. But if we're to the point of Pierce fell to the Eagles, then I think it's all she wrote. You're not necessarily getting a trade done by that point. Who knows? CMV, Josh, who's this year's Edgerrin Cooper for you? That's a really good question, and I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know yet. I have not gotten into the draft coverage and footage yet as much as I'm sure Anthony DeBona or others out there. So I could not tell you at the moment who the Edgerrin Cooper is. Once we start getting into the more of the film, more of the mock drafts, more of the reviews, everything else, then I could probably give you a better answer. And there will be that guy, I know, because every draft that we had last year was like, I can't get away from Edgerrin Cooper. We're going to take him. But now we got the linebacker play. So Eagle one, that's a fair point, actually. I hadn't looked at the what is that? What is the if they're trading him? Yeah, okay. I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, if you trade before June 1st, so it would have to be after, but see, that's the point where I don't know, that just makes it seem less likely. But it's a fair point as far as the cap. It's going to be a much bigger hit. Yeah, you're right. If it's pre-June 1, then they get crushed with a cap hit. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's let's see. I think I can. Yeah, here we go. Looks like or sounds like we're approaching bedtime. By the way, Kramer, we will try to mix it up for the drafts as much as I can. But there'll probably be a favorite player, whoever it is, that just ends up being on every single time. I'll do my best. I can promise you that. I will do my best. There's no guarantees that it will change up a ton. But we will. Camo Khaleesi, let's go, says thank you for my shirts. Glad that those showed up. Yes, this was, by the way, Myles Garrett was just looking at that. So trade pre-June 1, cap savings, dead money, just massive, terrible for Cleveland. And then it's post-June 1. So there's some savings there and a lot better situation. So that's fair. But I guess that's the point then. If you're looking at the difference of what they're going to save, what they have to pay in that sense, or it affects them. I don't. You're going to go past the point of you've already gotten through the draft, and Howie. We're going to see. You're going to see for sure one, but I'm thinking you might see definitely two, maybe even three defensive linemen with this year's draft class. Defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen, also edge rushers. It seems like you're going to get several of those, and then at that point, yeah, you're not. In my mind, you're not trading for a Myles Garrett because you have so many guys who you want to play, you want to get the reps in. Because remember, that was a whole case of Nolan Smith and everybody else from 2 seasons ago of Nolan wasn't able to see the field. He didn't get in near as many reps. And Howie talked about at the Combine. He was like, we need to see those guys get more reps. We need them to get out there and play. Anthony, yes, someone did say mock drafts. That is the king of those. Several. Jack, what you got to give up for Garrett is too much. I think that's a lot of people feeling that anyway. Aiden, sorry. Hopefully your daughter's not up. No, it is mine. All right, a couple other super chats here. Tyler, I did see yours also. Oh, it's something you didn't bring up, Josh. Keep Chase Young away from Philly. He's so lazy, plays entitled instead of playing hard. I will say that there's some people, there's ways to get a little bit more to maximize talent. So it's not to say that he wouldn't be better in a situation like this, but I do agree with you. Yes, I'm not for a Chase Young situation. Probably not going to, I don't even know necessarily if you could get in on a discount, but yeah, for those, there's other options. I would say no. Kramer, I will help you if you want to do that golf outing. Heck yes. Yes, I will. There's going to be an opportunity. I will just say that. There's going to be an opportunity. Maybe 2 times. I'll say that. Thomas and I are going to be at the Eagles Autism Bike Ride and Run. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. I think it's sometime in May. And then also the Smitty Celebrity Softball game. So at least one of those times, I would be totally down. Like, try to make something happen. Golf outing. Get as many people that want to golf together as possible. That'd be a blast. I would love that. Jordan with a 2. Appreciate that. Ringo or Rodgers for Slay spot? Simple question there. I would love it if Zay stays. I don't know if he does. I could very realistically see where Slay moves on, Zay gets a bigger contract, well-deserved, goes to a team that is going to pay him bigger money and starter money, even though, yes, there's the opportunity for starting here. I just could see potential of getting that. So, realistically, because of contracts, I would probably say Ringo. But, the Eagles are hosting, or I shouldn't say hosting yet. There's not the top 30 visits, but they've met with several cornerbacks from the Senior Bowl. They'll meet with several at the Combine, scouting those positions. So keep an eye out for corner. You could see Howie try to make a move for a cornerback in the draft. But out of those, yeah, I'd probably say realistically Ringo. But again, my ultimate choice would be if you can get Zay for a cheaper contract, keep him there. Be the other starters. You have Q, Zay, Coop, obviously, in the slot. That would be legit. CJ, the 10 bomb. Let's go. Appreciate that. Thank you for all the vids and streams. What is your percentage now? Howie makes a trade. I'll give you a percentage. Trade now. This is how I'm doomed, though, because as soon as we make a percentage, it's incorrect, because we did this for the Saquon Barkley. At least Anthony certainly did. Howie makes trade, though, for Max Crosby or Myles Garrett to replace Sweat. Either or. I'm going to say percentage that he makes a trade for either or. I'm going to say like a 10%, 10, 15%. I feel like that's where I'm at. I mean, combine both options, 10 to 15%, because again, I'm looking at it and going, you got Nolan Smith, you got Jalen Hunt, who Howie said in the press conference today, he's like, we're expecting him and Moro Ojomo to take a big step, to take the next step. So that tells me, not that it's a guarantee, because you could draft someone, you could pick someone up in free agency, it's not impossible. But to me, I'm going, he specifically names those. Now, he was asked about free agents and everything, but he specifically names those because you look at the roster, you like what you've seen from them. They've had production. And in a Vic Fangio defense, you're knowing full well that you're probably moving on from Milton Williams. You're probably moving on from Josh Sweat. Those are your next guys to get reps. Those are your next guys who improve because they get reps. They're able to play in those situations. Now, nobody's going to argue with you. I'm also not making the case. Yes, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby are better than those two options, but it's managing everything with the cap situation, what's involved long-term, and not mortgaging the future too much. Even if you're trying to, take advantage in the present. So, it's not impossible for me, but I'm probably roughly in that number. Kayla's 0.0%. So, what did Anthony say? Okay, Anthony also is 0.0% now as well. Anthony, I'm getting to the previous comments too as I'm going backwards. Am I crazy for thinking that the Eagles should prioritize bringing back both Zack Baun and Oren Burks? With Nakobe Dean and BVS recovering and Trotter being young, they're in rough shape for linebacker. I would be right there with you. I don't think that's crazy because, I mean, even listening to Jalen Hunt, which I know a lot of people have heard the interview. If you've not, there's multiple. You can basically just search for it. But Jalen Hunt interview on Vic Fangio, multiple posts or various clips and things like that. But Jalen was sharing, various outcomes, things about the Super Bowl. He shared, yes, that the team was going over parade prep, and then Fangio kept the defense longer because he's a psycho in a good way, and we appreciate that because he's basically going to show the defense the game film from the Super Bowl and say, hey, here you go. First half was great. Second half, terrible. Not unacceptable. 22 points in the second half, which I love because it's like they won the game, but that's that old school mentality, which, it's like, hey, we won, just chill. But he's still like, hey, you're going to get your corrections. You're going to see where we missed, what you need to be, because if the game had been closer, hey, you know what? 22 points in one half. It's not acceptable. It could have cost you. It didn't. But I love that. I got a kick out of it. But yes, Anthony, to your point, I mean, as people have seen and heard, but Jalen's in that interview, he's like, it all starts with linebacker play. Like Vic Fangio needs an insane roster, an insane linebacker room, which is where he started his career and, analyze all those players. So I don't think you're crazy at all. I think if you want to prioritize Zack Baun, Oren Burks, we talked about Nakobe, really like prayers for Nakobe's recovery. I hope that it's super fast. A lot of players, not saying that he can't get on the field, because I think that a lot of, there's instances where Nakobe and other players who have suffered that type of injury can get on the field and return to action of some sort, in one season. But I mean, you look at a lot of guys who have had that type of injury and they don't have the same explosiveness and ability to make an impact for multiple years to come. Anthony, I know that you know that, but I'm sharing with other individuals because I've had questions of, like, oh, if Nakobe recovers, how quickly could he get back on the field? That's when I'm just like, man, I hope he proves everybody wrong. Hope he gets back out there this season, like early into the season, even midway through the season. It's like, oh, hey, Nakobe Dean not missing a step. I don't know. You just look at a lot of other instances, like I say, from that injury, and it usually takes 2 years before they feel players admit to, like, yeah, I wasn't back to myself, my 100% able to have that explosiveness in the leg for 2 years. So maybe we're wrong. Could be, but no, not crazy at all. I think you got to get linebackers taken care of, and that's where this thing starts with. Heck, I've said it for like at least the last 3 weeks as we've been talking about Zack Baun, but I legit think that he's the highest IQ, smartest linebacker in the league. And I know it's just a 1 year, so you can make the argument and say it's a fluke, or at least it's not to that level. But I don't know. Like, the more footage behind the scenes, everything else, his play recognition, it is unreal what Zack Baun is like. So Fangio obviously sees that. He picked him out for a reason. But you hear Jalen Hunt say it too. Is like that dude is unbelievably smart. Like, the things that he sees, the things that he recognizes is missed by a lot of players, a lot of people. But Zack Baun is that way for a reason. It's no, you do have one-hit wonders occasionally. I feel like I don't know, in a way, luck into a Pro Bowl, that can happen more frequently, but like to luck into an All-Pro, luck into a Defensive Player of the Year consideration, that takes a little bit more. So, I don't know. For me personally, yes, I think Baun's a lock, but I totally agree too. You want to get another linebacker there, guy who's familiar with the system, played really well down the stretch. I'm all for it. Sign both of them. CJ with the 20 bomb. Let's go, bro. Appreciate that. Okay, got another one for you. Okay. About trading the 32nd pick for a third wide receiver, seeing as Dotson wasn't used as much like a Tyler Lockett type of player, or take one at the pick if a good one is available and defensive end isn't available that they want. Okay, that's interesting. Hang on, I'll answer that in a second. Fanny, I see the other one too. Member for 9 months. Let's go. Appreciate that. Says, hey, Josh, bring back Rodgers. All will be well. Yes. Okay, so going back to that previously. I would be with you. A lot of people would. Don't see why you don't. Yeah, for the trading the 32nd pick, I even if there's a receiver out there that's worth that pick and selection, I mean, I think it's just, you look at this team, they just don't need a third receiver, so to speak. Like, Jahan Dotson is good enough. I think the Super Bowl hopefully proved that, even though it was just a few throws, a few targets, he had the talent to actually do pretty well, and he didn't get targeted at times. He wasn't a focal point of the offense, but he doesn't really need to be. Again, you got A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you got Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, we'll see. Does he return? Do you get a different tight end there? But I think there's so many different weapons. To me, I hear you, CJ, like, if you don't have a defensive end there that they like, if you get to 32 and you say, hey, here's kind of an interesting receiver, but there's no defensive end, there's not a player that jumps off the page at you. I understand you can say, oh, just draft the best player available. But to me, I'm sitting there going like, you know what? If it's wide receiver or nobody, trade back, get a couple other selections. There's got to be another team that's willing to trade up into the first round and have that extra year of control. To me, I think it's too much of a luxury pick. I know that you could say it, but the Eagles have locked up, and they feels like they're going to try to continue to do this, obviously, but locked up Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, the extension. I just can't envision a world where you say we're not going to do that, and especially with the defensive line talent. For one, I anticipate somebody is available there at 32 that you like, but if they don't, trade back, I don't know, 5 spots, 10 spots, 15 spots. You have a couple selections in the second round, maybe an extra third or fourth, and beef up the defensive line. I think that would be the direction to go instead of I'm not saying Tyler Lockett wouldn't or couldn't make more of a difference than a Jahan Dotson, but I still just, the way this offense runs, there's only so many mouths to feed, and I'm kind of like, it feels like too much of you're just not maximizing the potential there. At least the way that I would see it for some type of trade that way. Yes, Anthony says between week 18 and the Super Bowl, I think Jahan Dotson proved he's more than capable as wide receiver 3. Just there you go. See, just aren't enough targets for him to have a consistent role. It's funny too because Anthony texted me. What was it? It was like a day. Was it a day before the Super Bowl or like 2 days before the Super Bowl? Anthony texted me and was like, "Hey, I was watching some film, and I think Jahan Dotson might have a big night or at least have a big play." Because there's instances where Jahan is open and the Eagles just don't even go to him. And so, I was kind of laughing about that. I was like, okay, hey, maybe we should put this on record, and then see how it goes. And it was hilarious because it really looked like Jahan Dotson was the first touchdown scorer until he was down at the 1, and then Jalen just vultured it. But there was something to that. So the long game, Kellen Moore seeing things that are set up later and utilizing him that way. Yeah, I think he's perfectly fine. I like that option as the receiver. I get it. It's understandable, but I would keep it. Mohammed, yes, in the words of John Dotson, people forget he was a first-round pick. That is true. Sometimes they do forget that. Jay Iron Thunder says Howie will trade 32 for draft capital. He did it in 2018. I would definitely not be surprised about that. It feels like it's either going to be a trade-up situation or trade back. I don't think it's going to be just sitting tight, but let's see here. Where was the other one? I missed one comment, I think, that I was going to bring up. Austin's here. Oh, I agree. I believe we're good at wide receiver. I'd love to see some scouting for Dallas's or Lane's replacement. Yeah, that's another one, too. We've got Lane will be here for probably a couple more years, but you'd love to have an opportunity for someone to learn behind him, as we've had for, Juergens and Jalen Carter for Fletch and other individuals. You bring them on there, they're able to learn. Similarly for Q, potentially, if Slay goes. But it's like the perfect scenario whenever that happens. So I agree. If you want to go perhaps tight end, maybe at that option. That one's a little bit different than like a third wide receiver. I know that it's still, you can make the case of like, yeah, but there's only so many mouths to feed. It's a little early for me personally. Depending on which tight end opportunity, I could still see you trading back and just getting more draft capital. But I could certainly see them taking a tight end, like maybe like second round potentially. Still looking at who's available, but I don't know. Maybe they say, you know what, we're going to try to figure out a way with Goddard, and he stays. There is the Kyle Pitts option, like we mentioned earlier, and then there's definitely like several different tight ends that are worth looking into or potentially taking. Mama says convert Johnny Wilson into a tight end. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the dude blocks with enough fire. Like, it just. Oh, Frank just said the same thing. Okay, I missed yours, Frank, if you were saying that. Change Johnny Wilson to tight end. I mean, there could be crazier things, I suppose, but yeah, it just feels less likely. I don't know, for whatever reason, it just feels less likely. Yes, he could do it size-wise. He blocks really well for a wide receiver, so it's not even necessarily that much of it, but we'll see. Okay, I do need to do this giveaway, by the way, so people are wondering questions as we're getting closer. Yeah, Brandon, no, you're right. He is big enough, but as far as Johnny Wilson. Anthony, there you go. See, Anthony says, please draft a tight end within the first 3 rounds in this year's draft class. It's time. Fanny's going, Johnny's too skinny for a tight end. I'm drawing a blank now, but he's what? Is he 240? 238? What is he officially at? I'm drawing a blank here. 235 maybe? Where's the size for? Oh wow, okay. I thought for some reason at some point, maybe I just had it in my head. I thought for some reason he was like at 235, maybe 240. It says here on the Eagles depth chart, 6'6", 228. So, he'd have to put on some more weight, but like he's got the frame to do it. He has the I don't know, the will to block. He's potential. Anthony says, I'll convince Josh to be team draft tight end early by April. We'll work on that. Yes. We'll see. Bearded Willie with the 5. Is it harder to trade for a guy like me, for a guy like Myles, or harder to move up in the first round of the draft and get a defensive end or tight end from Penn State? Well, I mean, there's drastic differences there, I think. If you're talking about like Abdul Carter, then it's much more difficult in my opinion because you got to go way up in the first round to get a guy like Abdul Carter. And you have, the rookie contract, the control, everything else there. I don't know, draft compensation, depending on where Tyler Warren goes, that could be closer to compensation for what it would take for a Myles Garrett to move up that because again, Philly's at 32, so you got to move up a good ways. Yeah, for me, it'd be a lot more for an Abdul Carter. Warren's a different story. That might be a little bit more equal. I don't know. Because you're moving up, what, like 15-ish picks probably? Maybe a few more than that even. 17 picks. So if Myles Garrett, if he is, because it's so all over the place. You get like people say Myles Garrett's going to be 2 first-round picks, or Myles Garrett's only going to be 1 first-round pick. You could trade 32 and a player. But again, who is that player? How much do you have to give up on that side? But probably a little bit closer if you're looking at that. Yeah, Ryan, Abdul Carter probably going top 5. That's where I'm saying that. That's just crazy compensation. At least, I think the general consensus. Okay. Here we go. We're going to do this. Going to do this giveaway here. As we prepare it. All right, and then we're going to get with the comments. And it was really anything from an AJ play. All right. Gathering the comments. We'll go to that here in just a second. And then wrap up after that. So any last-minute Q&A, anything else? As always, if the individual does not claim, we'll... Brandon, yes, I do. Asking if I ever do just live stream giveaways. I've done those many times. So it's not just the videos. And it goes back and forth. And if individuals don't claim, then it goes straight to the live streams. So I've also done that. In fact, gave away tickets to a game. So that has happened. Rich, what's up? We're signing Garrett. Believe that. And then towel is on the way. Big thanks. Absolutely, yes. Got the towel here. I never heard back from, as I said, 215 Bird Gang. I don't believe I saw the comment on the chat at any point, so could potentially give this away to somebody here on the chat. But yeah, this one is for that past video. It looks like I got the comments here, so I will put this on the screen. Good luck to everybody here. And on that video, they'll have a week. If they don't claim it, someone else can win it. By the way, too, for people that were asking, George did officially acclaim the Cooper DeJean signed jersey, so got that shipped out today. And if you want proof on it, you can go check the last video in the comment section. He replied there. So we've got all that. But, for people that claim there's, something of rigging or anything like that. But here we go. Comments, different AJ plays, anything there. And it is Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes 5452. My favorite play is every AJ block. So there you go. Looney Tunes 5452. It'd be great if you're here on the stream. If not, then you got an opportunity to contact me within the next week. Otherwise, it'll go to somebody on the live stream. If Looney Tunes does not claim it, congratulations. You got the signed AJ Brown helmet. Assuming that I hear back from you, just email me, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com, and that is yours. And there you go. Yes, and then very quickly we got some rigged comments coming in, which is usual. So I can appreciate that. We're keeping up the relationship here. Okay, so lastly, I will do this because I've got the live stream here. All right. You could just type in any any comment, whatever you want to say. You could say congrats. You could say AJ. You could say go Birds. You could say whatever you want to. I'm not putting a specific comment. Just anything you want to in the live stream chat, because I did not hear back from the individual for the Super Bowl towel. So if you want it, Jay, yes, it's tradition to say that it's rigged. I know. That is true. But yes, we're giving away the towel here. Ronnie, okay, so Ronnie's bringing up a good point. I will be giving out the Love Hurts hoodies on a live stream. It'll only be to people that hang out on a live stream. So again, for the OGs that hang out, have a good time, everything else that we try to do, I'm going to have also specific member giveaways. So members of the channel, there will be that once we have the members stream. It just won't be this Friday because, like I said, I got some family stuff going on. So for those that are regularly there, John, Charles, Ryan, Matt, who else am I forgetting? That's kind of like the core four. I'm forgetting, aren't I? There's one or two others. That's like the core four. But, for the members that are there during the stream, the Zoom call, do specific giveaways for that as well. But yes, the Love Hurts hoodies, they're not out yet. I believe I saw somebody saying like March 31st. I don't know if it's going to take that long or if it's just going to be sometime in March. But as soon as they drop, I promise you, I'll tell you when, and it'll be giveaway just for the live stream. So stay tuned for that for subscribers and members of the stream. I'm probably do like 3 of them, as I mentioned on the video. So who knows? We might get crazy and do more, but there will be 3 of those Love Hurts hoodies. Okay, I'm gonna spin now. We got many comments. Hopefully you're still here on the stream because you have to be to claim it. See who can get the towel, and who will it be? It is Ty, Child of the Most High. Congrats. God bless. Go Birds. Hopefully you're still here. Just got to make sure you're here. And then let me make sure that I see you. There's a delay, so I'm sure someone's going to be like, hey, he's here, and I'm just not seeing it yet. But you got the towel. Then I will ship it out to you. There we go. Let's go. I see it. See the comment. Okay. Heck yeah. As always, as I said for everybody else, email me, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com. I'll get your info. I will ship it out to you, and you're good to go. Qualified? That just made me cry. I'm not sure why. Not sure what happened. Rich for the 2. Appreciate that. Future spin for the Hurts hoodie. No, I said for everybody I was going to wait. So I don't want to. I appreciate everybody here in the live stream chat, but I did tell people I will let you know once they get dropped. I'll do the stream. So, Rich, I appreciate it, but yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do that one, then keep it above board for the people that claim that this thing doesn't actually work this way. But there we go. we got the towel giveaway here, the kids, Jalen Hurts or dog. I guess there were some people saying that, but however you want to use it on that side. But yes, many more to come. Like I said, I appreciate you guys. Could not do it. Y'all make this possible. It's insanity. The channel passed. It looks like, I guess we're 4 days past the 2-year anniversary of this channel. So 118,000 subscribers is ridiculous. It's insane. Super Bowl year, getting the plaque, everything else. I don't know what to say, but just thank you guys. And more videos to come, more giveaways to come. Try to do as many as we possibly can because, like I say, it's really, this community is what it is. So try to give back as much as possible and many opportunities, experiences, and everything like that. So stay tuned. Got other people there on the comments. Anthony, 200,000 is coming soon. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. That's ridiculous. But yes, lots of others. Y'all have a fantastic night. Video dropping tomorrow. Who knows? Probably another giveaway. But stay tuned. As always, go Birds.